Welcome to this presentation by the League of Women Voters. In 1920, after years of advocating for the right to vote, the 19th Amendment was passed. This gave women the right to vote. During the same year, the League of Women Voters was established to assist people to register to vote and to provide nonpartisan information so that people could become educated voters. Why is it important to vote? Well, it's the best way to make your opinions heard, influence government decisions that are made, and elect people who support your views. If you don't vote, you are giving up your right to influence and impact your government. When the United States was founded, only white men who were 21 years old or older and owned property could vote. Over the last 200 years, voting rights were gradually expanded to include other groups, and the property requirement was eliminated. Women advocated for voting rights for many years. They finally won this right when the 19th Amendment was ratified in 1920. However, the right to vote was often suppressed in many states for women and men who were African American, Native American, Asian American, or other minorities, until later when other voting right laws were passed in the 1960s. Young people, ages 18 to 20, were given the right to vote in 1971 during the Vietnam War. Old enough to fight, old enough to vote was the driving message behind the passage of the 26th Amendment. While African American men were given the right to vote in 1870, they were kept away from the polls by Jim Crow laws until the 1960s. It took the sacrifices of thousands of people in the civil rights movement to ensure that African American people and other minority groups could vote. Martin Luther King Jr. and John Lewis are two of the many people who led the voting rights struggle. Their work culminated in the passage of the Civil Rights Act of 1964 and the Voting Rights Acts of 1965. Sometimes people say, I only have one vote. How I vote is not going to make a difference. Well, those people are wrong. Every vote counts, and there are many times when a few votes, or even one vote, made an impact on the result of an election. Look at the examples. As you can see, this happened not too long ago in Virginia, where the election ended in a close vote, and the recount of the votes resulted in a tie. To resolve the tie, the two candidates' names were put in a bowl, and the final winner's name was picked out of a bowl. Not a good way to determine the results of an election. Not only does every vote matter, every election matters. Often people are very interested in presidential elections that happen only once in every 4 years. As a result, fewer people vote in state and local elections. However, state and local elections are very important because these results most directly affect your daily life. The results of these elections impact the amount of state and local taxes and how the tax money is spent. The people elected make decisions about what children study in school, their graduation requirements, the conditions of roads, school buildings, public libraries, parks, and recreational facilities. They also influence policing, public safety, the environment, and they make local rules about voting. If you want your voice to be heard about these issues, you must vote in state and local elections. In Virginia, we have elections every year. This coming November, Virginians will vote for one person from their congressional district to serve a 2-year term in the United States House of Representatives. There are 11 congressional districts in Virginia, 3 in Fairfax County, and each district elects one representative. Whichever party elects the most members of the House of Representatives will also elect the Speaker of the House. The Speaker oversees the work of the House of Representatives and appoints committees and committee chairs. The Speaker of the House is an extremely powerful and important position. Here are the requirements for voting in Virginia. To register, you have to be a Virginia resident. You have to be a U.S. citizen. You have to be 18 by the next general election on November 8, 1922. Most importantly, in order to register, you must also have your Social Security number available so you can complete the registration application form. You only need to register once, but you need to update your registration if you move. There's a new law in Virginia. After October 1, students who are 16 or 17 will be able to pre-register to vote. Are you registered? Do you need to check? Is your information up to date? Do you need to know your voting location, sometimes called a polling place? To find out the answers to these questions, go to vote.elections.virginia.gov, or you can email the Fairfax County Office of Elections at voting@fairfaxcounty.gov, or you can call them at 703-222-0776. I'll leave the slide up for a few seconds in case you want to write down some of this information. How to vote in person. You have to make sure that you are registered and that your address is correct. You must bring an ID. You can use your Virginia driver's license, a valid student ID, a bank statement, an employee ID that might have a photo with it, or a bill showing your address, and many other IDs. Except for the employee ID, the rest do not have to have a picture on them. You can vote in person on Election Day, November 8, from 6 in the morning to 7 in the evening. You can only vote at your assigned voting location. So it's important to check to make sure your voting location has not changed. If you were in line at 7 in the evening and there is still a line, you can still vote. Stay in line and you are still allowed to vote if you are in line by 7. You can also vote early at many locations. There's no special reason needed to do this, and it's a great option if you cannot get to the polls on Election Day. Here is information about early voting. From September 23rd to November 5th, you can vote at various government centers. Probably the closest one to you might be the Mount Vernon Government Center. You can see the hours of operations: weekdays 8 until 4:30, and then there are 3 Saturdays when it will be open from 9 in the morning to 5, and then it will also be open one Sunday, October 30th, from 1 to 5 in the afternoon. There are also other satellite voting locations. And these locations open October 27th, and they will be open until November 5. Weekdays from 1 to 7, Saturdays, October 29th and November 5th, 9 to 5, and Sunday, October 30th from 1 to 5. If you don't remember all of this, you can go to fairfaxcounty.gov/elections/early voting, and you can see all of this information. You can also vote by mail. Voting by mail is a little more complicated. The first step is that you must apply for an absentee ballot. You have to request the ballot by October 28. You can apply online for an absentee ballot at vote.elections.virginia.gov, or you can go to your Fairfax County Supervisor's office or public libraries, and there is a paper application available there. No matter how you apply to vote by mail to get an absentee ballot, you must include the last 4 digits of your Social Security number. Here's a picture of the absentee ballot, and you can see it's kind of complicated. I'm going to show you part of it in the next slide. The important thing to remember is that you must fill out this application correctly. So read the directions carefully. I circled one part in yellow because near the top you can decide which absentee ballots you want. So click or indicate by checking which of the ballots you want to receive. So the second step is they will mail you a ballot. You're going to receive it in the mail, and then you must complete the mail-in ballot. You have to follow the instructions carefully. Most importantly, you have to have a witness signature. Someone has to watch you fill out the envelope and sign it as your witness. This is to ensure that you really are the person who's filling out the ballot. You must also sign the envelope where that is indicated. Next, you must return the ballot. It has to be returned on time. You want to return it early to ensure that your vote is counted. You can return it by the U.S. mail. It has to be postmarked by November 8 and received by noon on November 14th. You could also put it in the drop box at any voting site. How often do we have elections in Virginia? We have elections every single year. This year, 2022, we are voting for someone to represent us in the United States House of Representatives. In 2023, we will be voting for the Virginia House of Delegates, the Virginia Senate, the Fairfax Board of Supervisors, and the Fairfax School Board. So we will be doing a lot of voting in 2023. In 2024, we will be voting for the President of the United States, and there will be other congressional elections. And in 2025, we will be voting for the Governor of Virginia, and there will be other Virginia elections. There might be other issues on the ballot in these years. We don't know yet. Those issues, like bond issues, will be on the ballot, and you will find out more information about them as each year comes up. People sometimes think that elections are not secure, that people can go in there and they can change ballots or they throw away ballots. This is not true in Virginia. Virginia elections are secure. And in fact, the 2020 election was the most secure election ever. There are safeguards built into the process to prevent fraud. The voter's identity is confirmed at registration and at application for absentee ballot, and as well at the polls. That's why you have to bring an ID to the polls to prove you are who you say you are. And that's why you have to um, have your Social Security number when you register to vote, and when you apply for an absentee ballot. That's why you have to have a witness signature. All of that confirms your identity. After elections, audits are performed to make sure that everything went as it should and that the election is secure. Well, once you're registered, you can vote. But the question is, are you ready to vote? Do you know the issues? Do you know what will be on the ballot? Do you know what the candidates stand for? Have you decided which candidate you're going to vote for? In order to be an informed voter, you need to know the issues. You need to find out information about the people who are running for office. And you have to check the facts that you're hearing on social media, the radio or TV, or even from your friends. How are you going to do all of this? Where will you get the information? Look at this website when you are planning to cast your vote. Vote411.org is a nonpartisan website developed by the League of Women Voters. It has lots of information that you need so you can make careful and informed decisions. When you go to that website, you have to enter your name and address, and you will get information about who is running for office, when the election will be held, and other issues that will be on your ballot when you go to vote. You can also make sure that you are registered to vote. You can check, and you can also locate your polling place or the place where you would go to vote on November 8. For more information, please visit the website of the League of Women Voters of the Fairfax area. We have lots of information there about voting. When you get to that website, click on Voter Resources, and the drop-down menu will show you many resources about voting, and you can find out all the information that you need in order to vote. Remember, voting is a right to be treasured and used. Many people have fought for that fight. Many people have fought for that right, and some have even died for the right. Remember the slides about the women getting the right to vote, 18-year-olds getting the right to vote, people during the civil rights era fighting for the right to vote? They did a lot so that you can vote. Now, voting is your right and responsibility as a citizen of the United States. Register to vote and urge your friends and family to register to vote. Then become informed and an active citizen. Learn about the candidates. Become informed about the issues so that you can make a decision that's right for you when you go to vote. Then, of course, remember to vote. Did you know that in the United States, about half of the people who are registered to vote do not go out and vote? I don't know why they do that. Remember, it is important to vote. That is your power. And encourage other people to go out and vote. Voting is your power. It is the best way to influence your government.